And we are live. And Cliff, we forgot to start our recording for audition because this is also going to go out on the main feeds.
Well, we'll
And I
just do that
realized that
now.
as the music was playing. So you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm going to start a recording right now. You go ahead and do it too, and I'll just figure this out later because that's how
All
fun
right. Well,
podcasts
I'm
work.
recording now.
Okay, April 2023. Y'all are getting a little behind the scenes action here.
Yeah.
And hey, we're live. Oh, isn't that nice? Hey, Cliff, for a completely random reason that has no bearing on what we just talked about, what's 5 plus 2?
7.
Excellent. Well done. Let's start the podcast now. I realized that as the intro was playing, like, oh, monkey buckets. Anyway, so it is the Douding Thomas Monthly Recap. It is April 30th, 2023, which means we are somehow 4 months done with 2023. The weather is getting warmer, but not fast enough for my taste because it's still flipping cold out today.
Every time that I think it's going to get warm, we'll have these beautiful days.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like today, let's see, it's super windy outside my house right now because I think last time I looked, it was like 62, but it's supposed to drop down into the 40s. And
Yep.
so, yeah, so we're back into like the 50s during the day next week.
Yep. But I think it's going to be okay because I think, according to AccuWeather anyway, which, by the way, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I only use AccuWeather because AccuWeather was the only weather app to develop a touchpad app back in the WebOS days.
Huh.
So that's how I became. That's how you made me a fan for life, AccuWeather. You made
one
an
of
app
like
for
3 apps that were developed for WebOS on a tablet.
Yep. And speaking of which. Hey,
wow.
I found this the other day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, so according to AccuWeather, next weekend it's going to get nice and it should stay nice for the rest of the year. Now, this is the third time I have said that in 2023, so we'll see if it actually sticks. But here we are.
I wouldn't count on it, Adam.
Yeah, definitely not. So, one other thing, little business that we have to conduct. I want to say happy birthday to a friend of the show, Mike, also known as BenderTube, also known as Brickmaster Brick Sky. He changed his name recently. So he's the guy that builds Lego in the live stream. He's actually having a live stream right now. But hey, Bender, happy birthday, number 34. You're still a kid, and that's great.
And I want to issue my sincere apologies to Benner because I had committed to be on his live stream, and then I ended up having to work all weekend, and so he DM'd me and asked me if I'd like to be on the other day, and I said sure. I don't have any commitments, and then like Friday afternoon I got I did an assignment that I knew in order to get completed I was gonna have to work all weekend, so which is fine. I feel bad because I really wanted to join him. So happy birthday.
Yeah. And to celebrate his birthday, now he was building Lego. Actually, for the first hour and a half, he was troubleshooting his live stream because, God, that poor guy, just like nothing went right. It was terrible. Like Cliff and I are
with that. Yeah.
Cliff and I are no strangers to technical issues. Hence why our 6 o'clock live stream will often go on air at 6:45. Like that happens, but this guy was doing it while his stream was going. It was terrible. But anyway, I got a little James Bond Aston Martin Lego car that I built while on his stream. So cool. Yeah, and he was building stuff too, but this is what I decided to build, and so that was fun, and there will be a link to that in the show notes because we need to monetize whenever we possibly can. Anyway, so that was another order of business, and then now we can get to the show, the stuff that we're going to talk about. The news of the week. No, we don't do that anymore. It makes me sad, but we don't do it anymore. April, we just had our Earth Day show that went up where we talked about, I believe the thumbnail said sustainable all the things, which was a little Cliff's brain trial there. So thank you very much for that. But it was funny because a couple of days after we recorded that episode, I got an email saying, here's an Earth Day thing that you could talk about. And I'm like, this would be a great thing to talk about. But we'd already done the show. So the whole point of one of the points of the Doubting Thomas monthly recap is to fill in details that we might have missed the first time around. And so this is one of those. Now we talked about on that podcast about how we can, try to use less plastic, use less rubber, use just general dependence on oil. And so we talked about the Anchor bio cables, which I don't have near me right now, but maybe Cliff has his laying around somewhere accessible. But
so my wife stole mine, which was to be expected.
Yeah. Right. That's how we do here. But anyway, one other thing that we never talked about, which honestly we really should have, it was like such low hanging fruit. I'm kind of surprised we never mentioned it. Was like cell phone recycling, and
absolutely.
People that upgrade their phones like every year, whether they do like a trade in or whether they do whatever they do with their old phones. I know I have a drawer full of them, and you probably do too, Cliff. But we never really talked about renewing cell phones, and more importantly, in this particular case, Samsung was actually added the Galaxy S22 series to its certified renewed lineup of phones, which is, I mean, it's good. They're certified renewed, which means it returned to Samsung for whatever reason, and Samsung went over them, made sure that they were all hunky-dory, gave them a brand spanking new guarantee or a 1-year warranty.
Yeah, so same warranty as a brand new one.
Yeah, So it's a 1-year warranty, which is that the same?
I think it is. Yeah, it's usually
warranties. I don't use phones long enough to.
Samsung's big about pushing just like every other phone manufacturer, big about pushing their extended warranty. So, but yeah, which is great because it's exactly what I lost my train of thought. So it's exactly what they offer with their new phones, and then they really are following, in my opinion, Apple's lead here, because Apple's been the one that forever has sold manufacturer recertified, refurbished products and at a discount, and they come with the same horrible I shouldn't say horrible, but Apple forever, like their warranty on their for labor was like 90 days, and then after that you had to have Apple Care in order to have it. That. So they would still.
It's no bueno.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So anyway, just a few details here. The S22 Ultra certified renewed in Phantom Black is $919, which is almost $300 off what its original price was, and that's 128 or 256 gigabyte storage options. I'm assuming the 256 gigabytes would be a little bit more expensive. They've got the certified renewed S22 Plus in Phantom Black at $769, which ballpark is about 150, just under 150 off. Right? Yeah, and then they've got the certified renewed S22 in Phantom Black and Green, and that will start at $619, which is almost $200 off the original retail price. So if you're looking to get a new Samsung phone, but you want to save yourself some cashola, then you can look into the Certified Renewed program. I'll put a link to the Certified Renewed website on the show notes for this particular episode, and that will be lovely.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, save yourself a little bit of money, and I mean, this is a phone that has been upgraded to Android 13. In fact, it got upgraded to Android 13 pretty early, like in before the turn of the year, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right. Yeah. It's so. Let me ask you this. Now, I never have. So, have you ever bought a certified renewed phone from any phone manufacturer?
Yes. Well, I have bought many certified refurbished things from manufacturers, but not a phone, actually. No, that I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've done certified refurbished stuff. Like, I want to say my original headphones, the Audio Technicas, I think I got those certified renewed. And that was like 5 years ago, and they're still kicking. So, it's like in a lot of different ways. They're gonna test everything to make sure that it can stand up, which is,
I used to say, I think, especially for like and I would say this is probably the same for Apple products, but when I would talk to people who were looking for a Mac, I said, look on their site because you get the same warranty,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually are getting a computer that's been looked over not once but twice. Originally when it was shipped, and then it's actually been gone over by Apple technicians.
Right.
And so to me, that's you're almost getting something that you could project to be more reliable necessarily than one that that's brand new out of the box the first
True.
time
Very true. So Samsung
for
uses
less.
132 point quality inspection. So they check, 132 different things, and I want to say the Wall Street Journal did a video on like what exactly goes into like not necessarily Samsung's process, but just the general when you trade in a phone, what happens to it. And so if I could find that video, I'll put a link to that one in the show notes too. It was actually really interesting, like what they test, how they test it. Like they have I want to say they have like color cards like this that they can like test different, parts of the screen to make sure.
Like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I'll see if I can. I want to say it was Wall Street Journal. I'll see if I could dig that up as well.
They put it on a test bed, and they have something that hooks up to it and goes through it and does both a hardware and software checks to see, and then typically I think they take it apart. I don't know if they replace the battery in Samsung phones. I would assume that they do.
Yeah, I don't know if that's part of the process or not. I'm sure we can.
On what the capacity is. I have no. I don't want to speculate, but
yeah, exactly.
Either way, you're basically getting a brand new phone.
I did not do extensive research into Samsung's certified renewal program before deciding to air this. But I will put I'll put the link to the website on the show notes, and if you want to check it out, you're welcome to do so. So that was that. What else? There's and just for the record, we might have to put off like half of my list of topics for next month because there's just a lot that happened this month that I thought, oh, that would be good to talk about. Oh, that would be good to talk about. So Cliff, I know you have a stove that connects to the internet.
I do.
I now have a washing machine that connects to the internet.
Nice.
So our washing machine died at the beginning of the month, so we had to walk out to the local Lowe's, I believe it was, and pick up a new one. And one of the things that I decided I wanted, just because it sounded ridiculous, was I wanted to get an internet-connected washing machine. And so I have one now, and it is named Washy McWashface.
That's the best part of this whole thing.
And I wanted to get your overall impressions on having internet connected appliances, and I just wanted to kind of bandy that about and see, is it important to have? Because I'm so far not entirely convinced.
Not for me, really. I think, it was a novelty. Obviously, it was definitely not something that having it as a feature. In my case, this is an LG range with
mine too.
And with it, you can do things like register it once you actually connect it to your Wi-Fi, and then have the app on your phone finds it,
right?
And then you can schedule to do cleanings and things like that. But all the things that you can do, for the most part, are things that you can also do just through the buttons on the front.
Right.
It's just sometimes you may not have the manual, and so it's nice to have that. Just to have the app on your phone too, as an example, to just be able to download a PDF, view it there, and then I'm guessing that they can actually diagnose the oven to see if it has any kind of issues by being connected to the internet. You could schedule a service call. So to me, that would be the other benefit of it.
Okay.
Assuming that the problem that you're having with the washing machine or oven is not something where, as far as power or connectivity.
Yeah, exactly. I know my washing machine does have a self-diagnostic tool that you can run. Now, I think in the case of the washing machine, and I can't see how this would really apply to an oven, but one of the interesting, I guess if you want to call it, things is my washing machine, I can actually download cycles to put into my washing machine, like so that my washing machine will, instead of like washing for 60 minutes with warm water
Mm.
and with a pre-rinse, like I can download one that'll only run for 45 minutes with cold water and whatever. So if like one of the preset options isn't quite what I want, like you can adjust it on the face. You could just tap the buttons and move it to
Oh, so
cold water
it
or whatever.
uploads presets to it, so you can just.
Or you can actually
Oh, no.
download like wash packs, I guess, if you want to call them that. Like you could download different wash cycles.
Washing machine DLC, nice.
Exactly. I mean, it's free, so it doesn't cost
Yeah,
anything
right.
yet. But I'm
Right.
going to find out 3 years from now. Oh, you want to keep that wash? That'll be $5.99
I
a
mean,
month,
imagine
buddy.
now that they basically just ship one model of a washing machine, similar to the way that Tesla does with a lot of, not to say they have
Yeah.
one vehicle, but
Yeah.
options, or even like BMW, I know is doing this. Mercedes is doing this with their vehicles, where the options, the hardware is pre-installed, but you have to. It's software as a subscription, or
Right.
features as a subscription. I could
Yeah.
totally see appliances going that way too. It's less SKUs, and then you just buy the features once you get it. I don't know. That's interesting.
So it does that, and then it also does the it'll also like notify me on my phone when a wash cycle's complete, which is actually kind of handy. If you're not down in the basement when it's running, you may not necessarily know when it's finished. And my daughter's been doing all of our laundry because she's eager for money. So I can be like up in my room and be like,
wait for those days.
Oh yeah. It gets expensive, trust me. But like I'll get a notification on my phone and be like, hey, sweetie, the laundry's done. You can go switch it now. Which actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I have that app on this phone, so I need to fix that. But yeah, so it's like it's kind of cool, and I mean, I got it's cool. I'm just not sure. Like, what I'm wondering is how much did it increase the cost to build that into it, and was that worth it? I mean, that's really the big question. Like, as it turns out, there's a lot of utility in a washing machine that comes from being connected to the internet. But for a stove, it's not like you can download different temperatures or anything.
It's like when Amazon introduced their Alexa connected microwave. I can see more benefits with that if you were able to download things, and you know what I mean. Like I can see some appliances that would benefit, I guess, more from it than others.
Right.
Oven not really being one of those, except for the rare time when you've got to have something diagnosed, or if you're at home and you say I forgot to clean my oven, so it does set it into self-cleaning, while you're away.
Yeah. And actually, one thing that the washing machine does is it recommends every like 30 cycles you do like just a clean wash cycle. So it actually tracks that in the app. And then another thing it does, which my daughter doesn't particularly like, is she's been keeping track of how many loads of laundry she's done. Well, I can keep track of how many loads of laundry she's done. And the other day, our numbers did not match. So, and go figure, her number was higher.
Yeah, exactly.
So my daughter's funny. A little con artist, and I love her for it. But
little sneaky, sir.
I appreciate the fact that my kids try to lie, and I just wish they were a little better at it.
I would say it's good that they're not.
Well, no, I mean, now it's fine, but I mean, that is a legit skill that you need to know. Like, you need to know how to lie if you're gonna get through stuff. But anyway, yeah, so that was that. I mean, again, nothing.
Parenting advice from Madam Doud.
Teach your kids how to lie. But anyway, so that was a fun thing that happened. Another fun thing that happened was Nearby Share came to PC, which is, I mean, it changed my workflow. I don't know about you, Cliff, but it's pretty awesome.
So here's my thing, right? My work PC is the main Windows PC that I work with all the time, and because of the nature of the business that I work in, and this is actually outside of.
Oh, you haven't been able to install it,
it's very locked down, so there's no way for me to install it. And then,
oh, that sucks.
I have an ARM-based Surface that I use as sort of my like around the house
So you haven't been able to install that either.
because it does not support ARM.
Oh
Exactly.
God!
So,
Big hugs.
you know, I mean, here's my thing. Let's talk about nearby share first, what it is, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
So,
So, okay.
no,
I,
you go,
I,
you go ahead.
yeah.
You did
So
so.
Nearby Share is basically a protocol that allows you to transfer files in between devices. It's kind of Android's answer to AirDrop, if you will, but up until recently, it has been limited to just Android to Android devices. And what we're talking about here is Google released a beta Nearby Share app for PC, so you can actually nearby share from your phone to your PC, and you could share basically anything. You can share URLs, you can share photos, which is pretty much what I've been doing with it. You can share videos, you can just transfer any content. It's part of the share sheet in Android. You just tap nearby share, and basically anything that you can share, you can send it now to your PC, which is
basically, I guess if you're on the same network,
it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, as long as you're on the same network and as long as you're in each other's contacts. Now, I'm not entirely sure how nearby share works with oh, you know what? You have to sign in. So you know what? I
so
would
it's
assume
okay,
it's probably based on your sign in.
right?
So yeah. So it's cool. So basically what I've been doing with it primarily is I'll
That's got
take
to be a godsend for you getting stuff
oh
off
my
your
god.
phone. Yeah,
So I'll have like some product here that I'm writing a review about. I'll take a picture of it, I'll nearby share it to my computer, and then I could just import it right into the review. And you can configure it different ways. So you can configure it so that you can only receive from your contacts. In this case, it would be your Google contacts. And you can configure it so you only receive from other devices that you're signed into. So if my wife wants to send me something to the computer, she can. But if I didn't want to that, I could just set it to receive from devices that I'm signed into.
gotcha.
But and then basically just the way it works is you designate a folder where it'll put those files, and in my case I made a shortcut to that folder in Windows Explorer, so I just send it over, I click on that folder, and then I can either sort it or just drag it from nearby share straight into a review or something if I need
Right.
to.
And conversely, uh, Microsoft just introduced iOS support or
Yeah.
iPhone support for Windows My Phone or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
Windows, what is that called? Your phone, I
Your
think it's
phone,
called.
okay,
Yeah.
which is also exciting for me,
Of course. Yeah, because you've been using an
because
iPhone.
I have been, and I'm actually. So this is again where I'm like, do I really want to use this on my work computer and for them to technically have access to all of my iMessage
Yeah,
stuff?
probably not.
Probably not. So again, this isn't that useful for me, but it is. I'm sure that for the 20% to 10% or whatever it is of people who are an iPhone user and a Windows user, that's very
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah, that's actually probably a fairly small slice in that
Hmm.
particular Venn diagram. Because and as they probably should, most iPhone users will be using a MacBook or a Mac, a Mac computer of some sort. And I say as they should because they work so well together.
Right.
You know,
Well, and this is
um,
sort of again mirroring a feature that iOS has with macOS, in that you have nearby share, but then you also have the ability to use iMessage on your Mac.
yeah.
So that's
Which is
part of what this gives access to. I haven't used it yet, so I'm curious to see what the differences are between like using an Android phone versus iOS in terms of like I know with Samsung phones you can actually launch apps
yeah,
through it. I'm guessing
yeah.
this is they it doesn't have like file system access and stuff because Apple's stuff
No,
is so
no,
much more locked down.
it definitely does not. And I have not set it up, even though I do have an iPhone. So, Cliff, in like 8 months, when I switch back to iPhone again, actually, it's not going to be 8 months. Shit, we're already in May. So, like 3 or 4 months when I
Right.
switch back to iPhone. My
Yeah,
God,
where are
this.
you in your cycle right now? Because you had talked this year about going Samsung and then maybe
Samsung and then
OnePlus or
Pixel.
Google. Yeah.
And then Samsung
Oh,
and
so you're
Pixel.
almost on the Pixel level here.
I almost am, and so I yeah. So I am using the
Yeah.
Galaxy Ultra now.
Yeah. Mhm.
I just moved back into that this weekend because I was doing a review of the OnePlus Pad, and to kind of get in that spirit, I moved back into the OnePlus 11. Which, by the way, our review for the OnePlus 11 is going to be coming in May, so stay tuned for that.
Mhm.
But I was using the OnePlus 11 pretty much most of the month of April because I was doing the OnePlus Pad review. Not that they really have any kind of interoperability, not yet. They will
Yeah, it was
in
like
June.
that was one of the stated features of it, right? As far as a benefit of having both a OnePlus phone and a
It will
OnePlus
be.
tab. So it will be okay.
It will be in
How the
June.
hell did they not ship that out of the box? Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, so because of that, since the OnePlus Pad review went up at slashgear.com, I'll put a link to that in the show notes. I need to write down all the stuff I'm supposed to be putting links in the show notes for. But anyway, I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. But anyway, since I'm done with that review, I moved back. I figured, well, heck, I bought this phone back in February and I've used it maybe a total of 2 weeks since then. So maybe I should actually use the phone for a little while, right? Because
seems like a plan. Good plan.
there is a new flood of review devices coming soon. So I want to get some time into it before I have to switch. Go away, dog. But anyway, so what else do I need to put into? Talk for a minute while I write down what else I need to put in the.
I'm here talking. No,
show notes.
Yeah, I do find that it's just because it seems like this the OnePlus Pad, whose name I forget as far as the official name of it. But,
it's the OnePlus Pad. That is
it the OnePlus
Pad?
Okay.
Yep.
It shares some DNA with I believe there's an Oppo that's already out. Or that will be here soon. Even the hardware design, it has that large circular camera pod on the back.
Right.
And so you would think that between, Oxygen OS and Color OS that they would have already had that feature implemented, but maybe not. I don't know.
You would think so.
It just seems very strange to me. I don't.
Well, yeah. Anyway.
I know. That's neither here nor there.
That is not something that I had control over. And if it was, it would have been handled differently. But let's just move on, shall we? But anyway, yeah. So I was going to point out that being back on the S22 Ultra, I'm enjoying the S23 Ultra. Rather, I'm enjoying the fact that I can launch apps if I need to. There still isn't a really strong use case in my world for launching Android apps on a PC. Like, the one thing that I'll usually do that actually kind of makes a little bit of sense is if I'm expecting a package, I will open up my home security app and watch the camera, and I'll put that up like in a corner somewhere so that I can see when the FedEx guy gets here.
And you're doing this through the Android subsystem that's built into Windows, or that you can have installed into Windows, or are you doing it through Samsung?
I'm doing it through Samsung.
Okay.
So, and that actually works whether I have the Samsung, whether the Samsung is my phone or not, because even when it's not, I'm on Wi-Fi, so I can still use that app.
Right.
So, but I mean, it's not like I'm going to play Angry Birds on my PC or anything. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not going to play Call of Duty Mobile on my PC. It's just, there's just not, like, the apps that I use on my phone, I use on my phone.
Right. And it was a promise in Windows 11 for for there to be Android integration, which it's there if you wanted, and
kind of.
But here's the thing. I mean, whether it's coming from your Samsung phone or whether you're using the beta feature that Microsoft has now,
and Amazon's crappy app store.
I think there is a way to sideload Google Play services and things
like that.
That's maybe, and then
hard pass.
I know. It just seems like why?
Yeah.
But okay, so going back to that, it's still not an app for the most part that's going to be optimized for the aspect ratio of your screen, the
Right.
usage case. I mean,
Right.
not all of my PCs even have a touch screen. So
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I could, but am I really going to?
yeah.
Answer, no, I'm not. So,
Well, that's to
but
me
yeah.
like I don't understand the hard push from some people for iOS and Mac OS to be integrated and together and to add a touchscreen to Mac OS
Well,
devices.
I
Again,
mean,
because you
yeah.
can, I guess. And I mean Mac OS and iOS and iPad OS are definitely, especially iPad OS and Mac OS are, kind of headed together. It
I
seems
I
like in terms.
use I use a touchscreen on my laptop. Like if my laptop has a touchscreen, I will use it. So like I don't think it's a matter of the operating system. I think it's a matter of just people just want to touch their screens for some reason. They want to do the gorilla arm thing, I think as Michael Fisher used to call it, where you like reach over and you tap things on your screen as opposed to using the mouse. Because like when I was using the OnePlus Pad
Banana.
for work, I would do that. Like I would be like, oh, tap 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 tap, and then tap and then type 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 and then tap. I would do that. That was not a weird thing for me to do. When I was reviewing the Surface Laptop 5, which that's pending, hasn't published yet, but when I was reviewing that, I was using that as a touchscreen as well. So I totally get it.
I do but again, whether it's going back and going to the Windows Store and using apps that might have been maybe you're still designed for like Windows 8,
Right.
or using Android apps on Windows, or again using iPad apps on a Mac. I just don't find it that useful. And even when
Yeah.
it has a touchscreen, because the interactions just aren't great when you're touching something that's near vertical. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I actually find using a stylus and holding, like a 2-in-1 that folds backwards,
Yeah.
or like the Surface where I can just pop off the keyboard. That where I'm interacting with it and it's a little closer, and then it
A
makes
little bit
more
more
sense to me.
tablet like.
But I
Yeah.
mean, this is all maybe semantics is the wrong
Yeah.
word, because everybody has their own
Yeah.
things that they prefer. But
You're not going to
but
yuck your yum.
I still feel like we're a few years off from any operating system truly being like touch optimized and it totally making sense, because it kind of feels like like something that's stuck on, if you like you're talking, you know what I mean, like it wasn't designed for it originally, so they added it on, and it's
Yeah.
like an appendage that maybe just really isn't designed to work as well with I don't know what I'm saying, but
Right. Right. No, I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
it's just it doesn't feel cohesive right now to
Right.
me anyway.
Speaking of not feeling cohesive, do we want to talk about Twitter? Do we? I mean, do we really? Do we want to talk about Twitter?
I don't. I'm so tired of it.
Because I
I'll,
mean,
I will. Let me just say this. Just if we do want to, I'm not even talking about the Musk, the Elno stuff, as you would say.
I don't know
But
how you talk about one without the other, but sure, we'll go for it.
well, okay. So for me, one of the things that has pushed me away from using Twitter is the fact that there are no third-party Twitter apps anymore. And I had not
Right.
used the original Twitter app in so long, I had forgotten how bad it was. Or
I mean,
at least
I've only ever used it.
so for me, having to deal with ads now, and then you have the following, and then the basically like a curated set of tweets that it also tries to force
that's
you
annoying.
into. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then like the direct messages are kind of buried, and notifications are just it's there's so much noise that it does not feel pure. So I have used a few competing services, if you can call them that, like T2 Social, and some different flavors of apps for Mastodon. And it's just, yes, this is what I want as far as the clean experience. And what does it say about your like the first party app that it's so bad, at least for what I'm used to, that it's actually pushing me away from using Twitter more than like any of the drama surrounding all the stuff behind the scenes and the ownership and the politics and all of that.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is to me. I just don't enjoy using it. They even destroyed they just redid TweetDeck and added all those things in.
Oh,
with a new
really?
user interface, and it's ruined it for me. Yes.
Uh,
Oh, it's so
Interesting.
frustrating.
It's interesting because like I have found that recently I only go on Twitter to complain about Twitter. And so like, but it's interesting because like I'm very caught up in the drama and the politics of it, and you don't care. You're just more about the the practical using of the app. Which but what's interesting is that both of us are equally turned off to it. And and you mentioned T2. That's the one that I tried Mastodon. That was an utter failure. So T2 has actually kind of kept my attention for the
Yeah.
last week and a half or so.
The small community is really nice on it right now.
Exactly. But Blue Sky is another one, and I know a
Right.
lot of people are jonesing for invites to that. I just and you know what? I can't really figure out why I don't like Twitter, except to say that I don't really I want to think it's more than just the blue check thing. Because look, I don't care about my blue check. I never have cared about my blue check. And I don't care that it's gone. But at the same time, like I see what Elno is doing with it, and that's pissing me off.
It is.
Like
It is so strange to just be gifting certain influencers or celebrities
it's not strange at
without
all.
paying for it.
It's not strange at all. I mean, and this is why I really want someone to sue over it, because I want to find the email where someone in Twitter HQ said, now that we've gotten rid of blue check marks and none of the popular people, none of the celebrities have actually forked out for it. All the people that did are now feeling bad, because before they felt bad because they didn't have a blue check and everybody else did. Now they feel bad because they have a blue check and nobody else does.
Right.
And so like, I bet there is an email somewhere that says, what if we just gave a blue check to everybody who has 1 million followers or more, just so that the simps that all paid for it to begin with don't feel bad anymore? Like, I bet that email exists.
Something like that. Yeah.
Someone needs to sue so that we can find that out in discovery.
It doesn't feel that specific to me. It feels much more arbitrary than that, where they just
it could be that too.
It feels more like the whim of Elno almost.
Yeah.
And then maybe, some emails that he got.
And
saying, uh-oh.
Right. And I've gotten a couple of, and I've posted screenshots of these to Twitter. I've had a couple of notifications that says so and so subscribed to the Babylon Bee, you should subscribe too. And I'm just like, nobody I know subscribed to that piece of crap. Mm-hmm. And like, I want to know who that is so I can unfollow them. Like,
it's again part of the noise that I was talking about with the official Twitter app. I don't need to see all of that. I have been on Twitter since 2007.
Yeah.
I at one point, at my highest point, I had around 1,300 followers, not a whole lot. And I had a similar amount of people that I followed. And I whittled down purposefully to cut down on the noise of my who I followed down to around 400-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that every now and then. I prune.
It's the triaging your followers, and because the first time I had done it, there was people that hadn't been active in years, accounts that hadn't been active in years, and my point being that I, even on an app that was from a third party and didn't have all the extra stuff from the official Twitter app, I still wanted to pare it down,
right,
so that it was easier to consume. And now that I'm on the Twitter app, the official Twitter app, it's just parsing through all of that to just see what I really want to see is a lot. And it pushes me away from wanting to use it.
Yeah, it's that. And like, well, see, you know what? I'm done.
I know.
I just don't want to talk about Twitter anymore.
It's just
so much. There's so much more that we could say, but I'm like, I'm just
gives me a headache. I'll be
honest. What bothers me, I think, the most is that by putting blue checks on people that didn't ask for them, like specifically didn't ask for them, and like specifically said, I don't want this. Take it away. And I don't know if he is or not, but by putting those blue check marks on those people, honesty's out the window. Like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and this is the same guy that rails against the media for having an agenda. You want to know who has agenda? People that put fucking blue check marks on celebrities just to make their shit look fun. I mean, that's people with an agenda.
For
Okay,
sure.
can I just fucking write about phones and like not have to worry about whether Elon hates me or not? Because I'm sorry, I feel a little attacked, even though I'm barely a journalist. But it's just so irritating.
With you being in journalism and his attacks on, I do see what you're saying, but it's also, they're trying to establish the value of the blue check, right?
There is no check. There is no value.
Right. Now there really isn't.
You know who the value is for? Everybody else. So that, well, that's who it used to be. That's not the case anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
the blue check is just a badge of honor to say, I give Elon $8 a month. I mean, that's all that is the value of a blue check mark.
So to me, while they are getting more revenue from Twitter, or he says that they're about to break even.
No,
I wonder how much of that is just from it, assuming that what he said was true or close to true, that how much of that is just the amount of staff. Oh, did you see as an example, he is now reducing the amount of maternity or parental leave is what it said. So
of course
parental
he is.
leave from 20 weeks to 2.
You know what? I honestly hope that Twitter burns to the ground, and I hope it takes Tesla and SpaceX with it.
Wow.
I mean, at this point, I would pay. You know what I would pay $8 a month for? To watch Elon Musk live in a fucking gutter for the rest of his life. That's what and you know what? I would keep paying $8 a month every month for the rest of my life to watch that asshole not have a place to live because he pissed it all away on a stupid piece of shit he knew nothing about.
And something that he was passionate about but didn't know the business side of it. And then this whole culture of working 80 hours a week and pushing cutting benefits because we're not making enough money. Meanwhile, he's dating a celebrity and
flying on private jets
shows and flying on private jets, and it's just it's not equitable.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And I'm
not
not even
talking about the
politics of its side. It just as an example, the company I work for now has amazing leadership.
Okay.
And they set an example by the things that they are willing to do as an example, right? Like if I'm not willing to get down in the trenches and do the same things that, if you're asked to work on a weekend and we all come in and let's just say hypothetically we cleaned the office, right? She would be in there cleaning the office. Can you see?
Right.
I can't see Twitter lawn.
Elon Musk doesn't sleep at the office.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There is no he is not setting a good example for what he expects for everybody else to do. Now, the company that I work for is much smaller.
Different.
Yeah. But
you know what? I could prove that he won't do what he makes his employees do because he makes his employees come into the office 40 hours a week. He is the CEO of 3 different companies, which, by the way, 8 times 3 is 24. So unless he has some type of magical transporter powers, he's not in SpaceX's, Tesla's, and Twitter's offices for the requisite 8 hours every day. So yeah, I mean that's just math. That's just math, people.
And I don't want to sit here and bash Twitter personally. I don't want to bash Twitter or Tesla.
I don't want to
or
talk about Twitter anymore.
I don't either, because I'm not there, because I'm not experiencing it firsthand. But I think it's remarkable how the narrative has turned on, just in quotes, Elon Musk.
Right.
In less than a year. It's amazing. So I'll just leave it at that.
Just wanted to burn. That's all I want. So, speaking of Twitter, and I kind of owe a little bit of an apology to my listeners because this has actually happened a lot, and I haven't really given it a lot of thought, but like a lot of our listeners will DM me on Twitter because my DMs are open. And this one in particular came in, and normally what I'll do when I get a DM is I'll just reply because that's what one does with replies, or hits block, either way. But normally I'll just reply and I won't give it a second thought. But it occurs to me I should read these. I should read these on the air because people are engaging and active, and that's
Especially
fun.
if they're super juicy in person.
Well, yeah, and this one had dick pics. No, I'm just kidding. It didn't.
Nice.
But no, this one came from his Twitter handles Ant-Man. I don't know. I don't believe his profile has a name associated with it, but he will comment every now and then on different episodes. And in this particular case, he says, "Hey man, I just heard the latest Doubting Thomas monthly recap. I can understand your argument that tablets are not as useful, but pilots use tablets for flying, which is interesting."
Mostly the iPad Mini, actually.
I'm sorry?
Mostly the iPad Mini.
Oh, that pilots use?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says, "I fly small planes right now, and the apps we use are exclusively iPads, sadly." There you go. However, airline pilots also use tablets for flying, and it's important that we need them for maps and where we need to go and the information we need for the airport. And it says, "Granted, after we fly, it may just sit around, but it's still useful during the actual flight." And I know it's a niche community, but having a foldable may be hard. I think what he's referring to is a month ago, and this is a long month ago, so I'm not entirely positive what our conversation was, but I think we kind of talked about like tablets having utility beyond when they're just being used. And so he brings up a good point. Like, it's important for pilots to have.
Well, I think the conversation that we had was how they're used a lot in medical facilities, right? So I think we discussed, if we didn't discuss it on that episode, we've discussed it before.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel especially with iPads, not just tablets, but iPads, and maybe depending on what it is, a Surface too, just because Windows. But yeah, there are definitely specific use cases. Just it's for me, and I think this is what we were talking about. It's just the fact that I'll get an iPad and like think that I'm gonna have all these uses for it. Like, oh, I'm gonna show my portfolio on it as a graphic designer, and I just end up not using it, and it just becomes a media consumption device. And then half the time it's not charged because I forget to charge it, and it's sitting on the table, and so I just end up using my phone. So that's kind of where it is. But yeah, I said the iPad Mini for. I have seen the iPad Mini used for like as far as in aviation. I have a cat in here. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go.
I have a dog here that's been flapping his head for the last hour.
But the iPad Mini I've seen used in like non-commercial flight, like in private, just private planes, usually like a prop based. And then I have seen the iPads used in cockpits of like commercial airliners. And yeah, they like put their routes on them, and then they can control quite a few different things. They just have like, usually if you're the pilot, it's like it's just mounted like to the left and it just slots in there.
Right.
And then anyway, I could see how that's very useful.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I just as part of the introduction of my OnePlus Pad review, I put, truth be told, the thing that tablets are most useful for is content consumption. They're essentially Netflix boxes. Maybe they don't start out that way, but that's usually where they end up. So like, and I can think of like a lot of people in, a lot of situations where I've thought to myself, gosh, I'd really love to get that tablet so that I could, XYZ, and it ends up sitting on my shelf, as a Netflix box. So,
can you imagine the potential utility of an iPhone foldable, but it's got like an M2 or something in it?
Oh my God.
Screen,
Yeah.
I see that I could get behind, and I can imagine paying $1,500 for that.
Oh, sure. In a second. But at the same time, like, I've been thinking about tablets just in general. And I think one of the criticisms for Android is that like they're not as optimized for tablets as like iOS is. But then I ask myself, like, is iOS really all that optimized? I mean, like, iOS has a separate ecosystem for apps on larger screen devices, but I mean, are those apps necessarily that much better? Hi, Kat. But it's a question that I don't think necessarily has the right answer. Has a right answer. I think basically what it boils down to is if you want to use a tablet, use a tablet. That's great.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. It's the
Um,
reason that some people, enjoy using a foldable, and
yeah,
some people enjoy using iOS, and some people enjoy using Windows, and but
indeed.
all flavors for all sorts of appetites.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, and that's legit. I think that's at the end of the day, that is legit. So then we have like just one last thing that I want to talk about, and this is mainly just because I kind of pitched this as an editorial on Slash Gear and it got rejected. So this is my outlet now. I want to talk a little bit about 100x zoom. So this month I did a review of the Honor 5 Pro. Honor Magic 5 Pro names. Anyway, I did a review of that, and one of the things that it points out, in fact, I believe it's actually written on the case, is that it has 100x zoom. I don't have the phone within reach right now, but it supports 100x zoom. And so part of the review that I did was I took it out and I took a couple of side-by-side photos with the Honor
50X, whatever it's called.
Magic Honor Magic 5 Pro
5.
and the Samsung Galaxy S23 side by side to see how 100x zoom works out. And as it turns out, they're both pretty terrible.
Wait, the Honor had a 100x zoom on it too?
Yeah. That's
does it have?
I swear to God, I just said that.
No, you did. I think it just hit me though, and I didn't realize that. Now, does it use like a pancake lens, or is it just a giant high resolution sensor? Like, what's the deal with it?
So it has it's a hybrid zoom, just like Samsung. It has an 3x optical lens in there, and then it has, then it just does everything with the hybrid. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to share something here real quick.
Yeah, show the images.
And in order to do this, I'm going to need to move that over there. And I was not planning on doing this, so here we are.
It's okay. We love hearing you talk about you move your windows around. No, so I have got some experience with the S22 Ultra and 100 times zoom, moon zoom, or whatever they marketed it as. And
okay, I'm gonna do it this way.
It was definitely more of it wasn't a sticker cam, so to speak, but it's one of those things that I never found myself using, like that full 100 times zoom. Now the 10x zoom was brilliant on it.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. So I can imagine how, for spying on people, it'd be fantastic, but I would never do such a thing.
Creeper mode. So anyway, so here's what I wanted to show you real quick is you can see it says 100x right in the middle of the lens. So, I mean, they're not being subtle about it either. They say that they can do 100x zoom. So let's scroll down and show you the side-by-sides. So, like, gross. So, like, on the left for all these shots is the Samsung phone, and on the right is the Honor.
Samsung is so much better.
It's better, but it's not good.
Well,
like neither of these are good. They look like watercolor paintings.
Yes.
Like
yes,
they look like those Picassos.
It looks like a photo from a flip phone from 2002.
Well, that too. But it looks like that Picasso where you stand back and like it looks like a bunch of people having a picnic, but when you get up close, it's just a bunch of little smudges and dots. That's what this is. I mean, you could read the number 51 on the side of the firefighters thing, and you can basically tell that these are humans. But I mean, beyond that, like even the clock, you would think a clock would be so easy because it's all angular and it's all straight and the algorithm does not have to do any heavy lifting here. Even that kind of looks like crap. But that being said, I still will maintain that 100x zoom is kind of useful. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. When I was vacationing in Hawaii, our balcony was right up on the ocean, and we looked out and we saw this kite thing, like just blowing in the breeze, like, and you could tell, it was a surfer or like some type of like, but we couldn't tell. We couldn't tell, are you windsurfing? Are you parasailing? Right. Like, what is it? And so I got out my phone, and I think this is the right video. So yeah, you can see like right there. See, that's the guy, that's the windsurfer there. So you can see that there's a windsurfer, but then once you zoom in, did he go in? Did I get it any bigger?
Oh God, look at the fringing.
No, I guess not. Maybe that's not the right video, but I guess I'll just let you look at my, no, okay. So I thought you could see, like, you could actually see the boat pulling along, and now it won't load at all. You could actually see the boat pulling along the windsurfer. And so I guess that's kind of what this is down here. It's really hard to tell, but you can see, that's a boat that's pulling these people along.
That is a boat.
Right, but like
our boat.
From this view, you can't tell what's going on here. You just see this like blue dot hovering around in the corner. Now, similarly, when I go back to the Honor Magic review, when I took a picture of this building, this US Cellular building here, which, by the way, US Cellular, awesome. When I took a picture of this, I did not see those people on top of the building. Like, it was only once I zoomed in that, like, there's people up there. That's fun.
Oh, that's interesting. Is US Cellular based in Chicago?
I think they have offices here. I don't know if it's necessarily based in Chicago, but yeah, it's just that building's been there forever. But anyway, like, I did not see it. They do. I did not see that there were people on top of that building until I busted out the 100x zoom, and suddenly I can see those people. Now, is that terribly useful? Not really. It's kind of like that scene in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where like Robin Hood, Kevin Costner discovers the telescope for the first time, and he's he like sees the people, and he's like, "Oh my God, they're right here!" And like, it allows you to see things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see with the naked eye. But beyond that, 100x zoom kind of sucks no matter who does it. Like, I know Xiaomi does it, I know Samsung does it, I know Honor does it. There's probably some others that also do it. And maybe under some very specific circumstances, it might matter that you could capture something slightly usable. But for the most part, it's garbage. But it is still useful for situations like this.
It's useful garbage.
It's useful garbage. And I mean, really, that was the thesis of my editorial, and now that I've said it out loud, I can understand why they passed. But anyway, that was it. That's what I wanted to talk about in terms of like 100x zoom. Have you found any uses for it?
Useful garbage.
Have you found any uses for 100x zoom that like maybe I'm missing or something? I don't know.
I mean, you just made the case for creeping. I can see how that's a
absolutely
thing, No, I mean that's literally what I've used 100x zoom for before. Actually, specifically what I've tried to do with my S22 Ultra is I will you'll see the airplane in the sky with the contrast coming off of it.
Yeah.
And so I have tried to use the 100x zoom, but here the thing is, you don't realize how fast they're actually going until you start dropping in. It's like this across your frame. Or let's see, I'm trying to find my finger. It really is like this. When you get in that close, and you still can't tell. Yeah. But I'm always just interested because I love airplanes, and I'm always like, wonder what kind that is. Like, I can tell it's probably two engines because it's got two contrails coming off, or
even just like holding something like the moon in frame for any amount of time is like damn near impossible,
right? Yeah, and
because like the slightest shake in your hand and you're
exactly. It is hard. This has definitely been the pets episode.
It has been. I just threw water on them so they go away. So we'll see.
It works really well.
But now that I've gotten rid of my dogs,
a spray bottle down here for when my cats bother me when I'm working.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that was my whole thing on 100x zoom. I feel like I could have written 800 words about that, but whatever, it's fine. But anyway, any other thoughts that you wanted to share before we wrap things up here? Because it's already been an hour.
Yeah, I think we're about there. I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing the OnePlus 11. It's been a while since I reviewed a phone.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say about
For
it.
sure.
Because I already wrote mine.
I am daily carrying it for the most part with my iPhone. So
nice.
I am some form of two phones. Definitely not the captain. But.
Well, cool. Well, I think then that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. And I want to ask you to please consider subscribing to this podcast if you enjoyed it. And if you really enjoyed it, I would love it if you would write a review. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and smash that bell so you can be notified of new episodes and reviews as they drop. And if you want some early access, jump onto Patreon at patreon.com/benefitofadoud. I would like to thank co-producer Cliff for all of his hard work behind the scenes, but most of all, and as always, I would like to thank you for listening and for giving us the benefit of the Doud.